Gonna let this go for a little bit. Have the rest of this beer. Probably stretch a little, honestly. It's not 2 a.m. yet. We're only gonna go for the hour, I think. But, hi. Welcome to the witching hour. I am really tired. And one of the things I did want to do with witching hour is show projects I like. Uh, Hopefully horror adjacent, but we might do other things in the future. Today, something that's been coming out pretty recently that I've found is called Paleo Void. Um, I think they're still working on their stuff, but what is out so far is pretty cool. Uh, some stuff came out recently. They've been coming out, I think, weekly or bi-weekly, every other week, however you want to say that, over the past bit. And I found them just recently. But the main reason is I want to look at it and actually comment on it a little bit because I think it's a pretty fun project and I think they got some stuff going for them. So let's go to proof of concept first. And then I'm probably going to go to videos in order. But from there, yeah, there are certain things that are very recent. All right. Oh, hold on. So I want to look back through that. Hold on. Hold on a second. Because what I want to do here is I actually want to look at this. So immediately it's all jittery, which is like a common effect you'll see. But if you're looking at it, like if you're watching the fish go by, I genuinely really like how this looks because if you're looking closely enough at this guy specifically and a little bit at this guy, you can tell these are just images. Whether they're original or not, I don't know. But they're just images superimposed on on this. But the way that they have, decided to grain the footage is honestly really well done in the fact that it hides any way that you would be able to tell, like, that it is an image, and they actually have like layered certain shadows on it to make it look like they're swimming. I think that's really cool. I think it's really well done, all things considered. Like it's still amateurish, but like this is on YouTube. What the hell do you want? I think it's really well done. So moving on to contamination. All right, immediately. So, this is like your typical analog horror shit. Like, this is very, think like Tangivirus, which is probably where they got the idea from, all things considered, of this. So, we're going to go to here. Spreads through, it's a bacteria, spreads through bodily fluids. I actually have to check something because my immediate thought is rabies, based on every single thing up to and including, let's see, this part, which I'm actually going to look up. I'm pretty sure muscle atrophy is a rabies thing, but I can't remember. So let's just look up rabies. So rabies is a virus that spreads through saliva, bodily fluids of an infected animal, normally from bites. What does it cause? Fever, headache, excess salivation, muscle spasms, paralysis, and mental confusion. So that's what it is. People may experience pain in the muscles, whole body dizziness, fatigue, fever, loss of appetite, or malaise, delirium, fear, hallucination, nausea, or vomiting, muscle spasms or paralysis with weak muscles, pins and needles or sensitivity to light, aggression or irritability, and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, up to here, to some degree, I see, except the bacteria part, because rabies is a virus. It's kind of like rabies. Very, very tangivirus. This is weird. I don't know. This is clearly the making of a fictional virus of some sort, or sorry, bacteria. But from my understanding, my very limited understanding of virology and stuff, is this is something that tends to follow with bacterial infections, boils and cysts from a bunch of dead cells, you know, that like build up in one place and are being processed by the body. Like, say, with the bubonic plague, whether the body actually can process these out of your system is hit or miss, but normally this is bacterial from my understanding. Feel free to correct me, though. This is ridiculous, all things considered. But the main part of this that I really like is this. This is practical effect work. Holy shit. Like, this is really cool. Like, it's clearly fake, but the work here is really fun. A painted eye, which one thing I'll give this person credit for, because I'll be commenting on this later on, is the fact that this is clearly like some paper mache slash like plastic based practical effect work, and they do a better job of it later. This is clearly practice for a thing later on, but right here, this like airbag compression, I really like that. And then them, hold on, I wasn't in there. Them right here, kind of vomiting the tongue, is a very fun effect. Come on. Hey. Hey. Whatever. Now we go to a training video. No, leave me alone. And of course, prehistoric emergence is on here. So let's go all the way back to the part I wanted to actually look at was here, right here. Now, I'm curious because, oh man, I don't even know what I would look up besides phylogeny for this. But this is interesting because they're using string. So here, lyrebird I could see, um, especially with what they're doing with it. But lyrebird is it is a bird that can mimic near to, if not any, sound, which is very interesting. Parrots are quite intelligent. They also have some mimicry. It's pseudo mimicry, I think, is the classical term for it. They can mimic what they hear to a degree and have a limited understanding of its usage. It's why you see that one guy in your shorts or your TikTok who's training the parrot how to identify items and name them. Shrock. That guy. And a cassowary. Oh man, cassowaries are scary. Imagine a bird. If you, for some reason, know nothing about a cassowary, imagine a 4.5 to 5 foot tall bird with talons that, with a single kick, could tear open your stomach easily and probably dig in pretty heavily. When I say tear open your stomach, I mean tear open the whole thing. It is rough. They mainly don't like to be fucked with, though. The only time that they'll do something like that to you is if you fuck with them. So, moving on from there. Yeah, you drop here to kind of go over that stuff, whatever classical stuff. And then we're going to go back through this because I really like the audio layering here. If there is one thing I do know about, it's audio. And we're just going to take another listen at this part. I'll play a little more, actually. All right. Oh, Flint's in her litter box. All right. So, and you can hear it. It's a weird mix of the lyrebird and whatever the natural sounds that resonate from the creature are, that are layered within the same layer of audio, which is interesting and really well done, honestly, because you can kind of hear like the sounds that it's making as it sounds like it's forcing these like help sounds and whatnot that it's mimicking out. Like it's really trying for it, is what it sounds like. And then in front of that, in the foreground of the audio, is leaf scrunching from walking. And honestly, in terms of sound, that just sounds really well done. It sounds in the distance. It sounds far away enough that it is concerning, but you're safe. For now. You should leave. Which this guy gets back on the path and makes sure he sees the path and goes. He leaves, which Honestly, good on him. Good for him. He knows what the fuck he's supposed to do. But yeah, moving on. It just, the shot of the dinosaur. Yeah. That dinosaur. Hold on, we're going to go back a little bit. Just back to him. Something about just this. Oh, I love that. That looks. I really like that. That looks like it was ripped from something, and I think it was. But, oh, that's. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Yeah. Proof of concept, setting up some lore. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not really critique on that. Don't worry, buddy. I'm just, this is a year ago. But yeah, that was pretty sick. From there, we're gonna actually go through things in order because certain things have come out, and we're gonna go through this. We're just gonna go through the Cicada season 1, a lyrebird, damn. Yeah. All right. Oh, hold on, lad. Yeah, I don't feel the need to go over that beyond the. I do want to take another look at it because it's so. A little hint, of course, of it. Oh, I do want to say one thing. A child right off the bat. No holds barred. Good shit. No, I respect it. It's not edgy off the bat, which I like. It's just, hey, this is showing you how serious that this situation has gotten. You're being dropped right in the middle of it. A child has been taken, and they're only the most recent of 7, which is very, very cool. That like it's hit this point, and yeah, this feels like something you would see on the news. 1980, March 2nd, 1980. This feels like something you'd see on the news. Yeah, this was just a month ago as well. Holy shit. That's funny. That's very true. But, this feels like something where you sort of going to bed one night and you overhear a child has gone missing. You're like, wait, what? And you finally pay attention to that news report on the TV that, like, we'll say your roommate or maybe like some of your family is playing that you never really pay attention to. And you begin to learn suddenly about 7 people and a whole herd of sheep. I feel like I would have heard about this. But you didn't, you fool. This only piqued your attention whenever a child went. An experience that isn't uncommon and isn't unheard of for something as, I wouldn't say gruesome or grisly, but as disquieting as this. And then we get a few cats, some dogs, poor little guys. Whole herd of sheep. Yeah. Then, this, though. Oh, what the fuck? Yeah, it's ugly. And I could see why they would think immediately. Like, it's genuinely good detail that they were like, yeah, no, this is what people are seeing, and they've noticed it's taking people, this is what they've described to a police sketch. We're assuming that they wear a mask. That's reasonable. That is within reasonable logic. This is something you'd see on the news. I think all things considered, like, it's very stereotypical, but it's also very well done. Yeah. BCC. But yeah, no, I think this one's really well done, all things considered. So, let's move on to the next one. How to make a dinosaur. Hold on. All right. So, what I want to immediately, because we're just going to go through this in order. One, I'm pretty sure those are right. Like, without looking it up right off the bat, I'm pretty sure those are correct. And honestly, if these are the two that they had, these would be. These are some of the most likely things for there to be recent DNA of. These ones are plausible because they're already looking at, like, I'm sure you've seen the woolly mouse, shit like that. Um, no, these are most reasonable. A cave lion, which they could take a. Thinking about it, honestly, they would have to probably go for a lynx or something, which would strangely be its closest modern ancestor. Some sort of European uh, big cat, which I think there are none, as most of them evolved into smaller animals, or in the very least they died off. But there happen to be animals that are related to them, like somewhat recently in their line, in their phylogeny. I don't know the word. Phylogeny line that they could feasibly make a cave lion. This one would be even easier. This one would be easier than a woolly mammoth, honestly. A cave bear, Ursus spelaeus. So, an interesting factoid about bears that a lot of people don't realize is most of the bears that kind of have this sort of body shape and design are extremely closely related in terms of like sheer DNA. And like, oh man, all you would need to do is grab like a Kodiak bear or something akin to it, something from Russia, probably, and you could pretty easily make a cave bear. Like, you wouldn't even be filling in that much, honestly, because it'd be so closely connected. Um, all things considered, cave bears are interesting on their own because of certain things about them. Like, they split off from certain types of bears that we see in the modern day because of the behavioral and environmental situations. But these are still European, right? And, well, I mean, I keep pressing the button on accident. That's my bad. Um, the thing about cave bears is that there are no European bears currently left alive in the wild, right? It's been that way for probably a few thousand years because what was the first thing that they did? Well, they got rid of the dangerous animals when they kind of mostly, you know, civilized Europe, urbanized, whatever you want to call it. Europe is probably the most developed continent on the face of the earth, thinking about it. But yeah, I don't. At least I don't think. Actually, we could just check. We can just check right now. It's not that hard to check. European bear. Okay, there's the Eurasian brown bears, which live. The most common species of brown bear. Into 5 main clades, mtDNA. So, I know I'm on Wikipedia. I don't care. So yeah. So, and then we're gonna look at, cause like fuck it, might as well. Cave bear. Sources phosphates from dragon caves off Australia. Skulls and leg bones were cats. We descended from Pliocene estrucine bears, Ursus estrucis, that lived about 5.3 million years ago to 100,000 years ago. Last common ancestor of cave bears and brown bears, meaning they're very closely related, lived between 1.2 to 1.4 million years ago. Middle Pleistocene remains of the cave bear lineage are assigned to Ursus deningeri, Denninger's bear, Deningeri, which is known for the remains spanning from Europe to China, which is just between Denninger's bear and the cave bear is given as the last interglacial. Although the boundary between those forms is arbitrary, and intermediate or transitional taxa have been proposed, which is very likely, just because we don't have the likelihood of us ever finding those fossils is very low, because fossils are extremely rare. What is the metric that people give? Like, we find 0.01% of possible fossils through sheer luck, because the 99.99% of animals that have died did not land in a good enough spot to fossilize. While other authorities consider both taxa to be chronological variants of the same species. Yeah. That's also the other thing about cave bears. Is they're also known as short-faced bears. Because their snouts are very short. I don't care enough to actually look into why. But here we go. Spain, British Isles, Belgium, Italy. So all the way from Spain to possibly northern Iran. Which is very interesting. But yeah, they are heavily related to brown bears, basically. I could look up bear phylogeny, but we don't. I've diatribes enough. Basically, cave bears are surprisingly easy to replicate if we find well preserved enough remains of them. But either way, here's where I'm gonna actually have a problem. Yeah, it's right about here. Where they're like, yeah, if a fossil remain is well preserved enough, we'll extract the fossilized DNA. I know, I get it. It's fictional. You're coming up with a way to do this. For people who would like to suspend their disbelief, though, no. DNA degrades so fucking readily. No, that's not how that works. Oh, I should probably say, I do not have a degree. Hello. No certification. I am merely a person who has done research. Like, I know things because I have looked into them. Feel free to correct me, especially if you find a valid source. Like, hey, my main philosophy in life is live and learn. So, hey, there you go. But, to my understanding and my knowledge, no. DNA degrades so readily and so easily that once it hits a certain point, you're lucky enough to even find, say, impressions of feathers, like in this fossil. Like, one amazing example is there was, I think it's called the Mao. It's good mother lizard. I think it's called Malosaurus. But, and I live over in Bozeman, right next to the Museum of the Rockies, and they have an exhibit on it. It's really cool. As they talk about how, basically, these things were found in a silt deposit, basically. And they're amazingly well preserved enough to see the skin impressions on them. And they're practically mummified. and then fossilized, which is the kicker there. So if something lasts long enough to be fossilized, well, there reaches a certain endpoint where DNA has broken down so much that you're not going to find anything. It is paper in the wind, it is ghosts in the marsh or whatever the hell. I don't care. Either way, DNA breaks down too quickly. However, we'll suspend our disbelief and for the sake of the story, say that they found DNA. Moving on from here, I believe there was. I think I immediately was like, okay, yeah, cool. This sort of thing. This is interesting. The fragmentary DNA, and then they mix them with more modern ancestors, and it makes them behave differently. Yeah, no, if this is how this would work out, now I like that. That's cool. That's a good little touch. From there, practical effect work. This is very well done. You can tell they got in a lot of practice. Looking at the sky, this is an embryo. This is full on a very well done embryo. And he moves it around. I'm sure you saw. Yeah, they move it around. There's the eye. You can see the creation of the mouth right there. It's got another thing. So this is a late stage embryo too. If you know your how that works. This is very well done. This is cool practical. Oh my gosh, I think might be so far, and from what I've seen, the best practical effects work done in the series so far. This is so fucking well done. Yeah, they talk about it being weird. Your job here, cool. The Bone Ridge Reaper. Here we fucking go. Hello, Flint. Here you go, baby. You want to help me? No? Okay, she has nothing to say. So, we're not going to look at the next one yet. That's the one with some pretty alright practical effects. Not the best, but still pretty alright. Yeah. The only really big thing I have to say about this is, let's see. Well, this is just a fun. This is clearly made for the fun of it. There. So we're just gonna go to a random point and just go to this. Oh yeah, clearly restricted property. Cool, whatever. Gets in. One, I don't know what this is supposed to be. Maybe it was supposed to be like a swing at one point, and it's broken now. I don't know. I don't know what the implication behind that is, but... Again, the audio is great. Whoever this person is, it's a person who has audio chops, clearly. Like, some of it's a little amateurish, sure, but it's practiced well enough that it still comes across, especially on a first viewing, pretty well. Let's see, because I think we hear another thing here in a second. Yeah. Foreground audio, you hear the wind going. I wonder what type of camera this was shot on, because this could just be like a phone camera that they're shooting this on. Or they could have actually taken a tape-based camera and run it out here, like an old camcorder. Which is interesting, given the time frame. This is May 2nd, 1980, same year. This is 2 months after the news report that we saw earlier. I don't know if they had handheld cameras back then. I guess it's worth a Google search. Let's see. Handheld video camera 1980 camcorders. Are they just camcorders? Beta cams in 1983. Betamax VHS and Video 2000. So we're just going to look at earliest camcorder. It was 1983. I'm so sorry. Unless you're using studio grade, huge ass motherfuckers, it would have been 1983. But again, suspension of disbelief for the sake of a series. That's fine. Then we get this part right here where we see stuff like the bones, which could actually just be like real ass animal bones. And then we see this guy right here, which is the little girl. And the man in the window. Except, and I think this is really well done, the fold that is two of them. to the immediate. I have to dock a point. Just a point. It's so obviously superimposed. It looks awesome, and first viewing. Something that I've noticed about this series is on first viewing, this is awesome as shit. This is so cool. God, it's so cool on first viewing. Once you actually start to look closer, though, unfortunately, you see the cracks start to form, which is nothing against the creator. They are making do with what they have. They are creating this in this way. Yeah, it's clear something in superimposed on the film. One thing I did notice there is no. What? What? Um, that's it, really. In terms of the acting, this is done pretty well. Um, we're gonna skip back over to the dinosaurs here. Again, clearly superimposed onto the image. But otherwise, really well done. Like, it's very fun. But we go straight from here, literally straight from here into autopsy. Which is the one where I realized that I should actually look at this a little better. Because I... Oh, wait. Hold on. Am I... Because they're using British, aren't they? So if we go to... Hold on. Because I'm an idiot. Hold on. The 5th of February. Okay, they're using the British system. So let's go right here. The 3rd of... Okay, my bad. Sorry. This is British. I forgot. They do it differently. So it's the 3rd of February. And then it's the 5th of February. So pretty close after. And then it's... Yeah, that's going to be the only thing I stop on. 'Cause that's my bad. But... Oh yeah, I should probably... How fucking awesome. I might be the only one in existence who thinks this is the coolest fucking thing ever. But, like, regardless of how closely you're looking at this body, like, yeah, it's practical. One, it's practical. That is so cool. Um, but, um, yeah, this is practical. You can kind of see that it's sort of like a, I want to say it's a putty that they're putting on here. And the best place you can tell is one, it's the ribs, and two, it's the skull right here. Actually, there's a much better one when he's actually looking at it over here. You can tell it's like a putty. I think the gum is really well done. I think it's very cool how this looks. But this is clearly, practical effects, whatever. And one of the coolest things about this is how well thought out it is. Like, they kind of go through the feeding process of it, right? And they talk about all sorts of the different, like, ways that they got into the meat and stuff. And it's actually thought out about how these things would get at a body. It You don't see stuff like this, and I think this is really cool. Another thing here I actually do want to go over is, let's look this up. Let's look up Optidine, because that is interesting. Optidine. Oh wait, let me actually look up the spelling. Yeah, okay. Optidine. Camcorder, because I think this is just a fictional one. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I think this is a... excuse me. Fictional camcorder that they are using for the sake of, this stuff. Yeah, the attention to detail on how the dial is killed and fed on their victim is... yeah, I can say it myself. It's so cool. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. But beyond that, that's really all I have to say about this. Is like, yeah, they actually looked into how predators feed. The bit about the bone marrow is really, it's a really neat thing, because it's true. Yeah, no, predators, especially the large predators, do that. So, okay. But now we're gonna get to the next two, because I've not seen these two actually. So we're gonna be experiencing these two together. That's a crazy looking dinosaur. Okay. So that's them going over this fictional company and how they have a camcorder in 1980, like how that happened, which I actually do like that this is pretty close to the original tape recorders from what we just saw. It is pretty bulky, but still compact enough for you to carry around, right? And this fictional company also happens to have one. Let's go back over the tick thing because that's okay. Sharper image. Yeah, and they have a. So yeah, this is a fictional company clearly, which they did set up in the last two, or in the last one rather. So yeah, immediately let's just go straight to Bats of Bone Bridge. I can't help it. I'm gonna laugh at that. Mm. All right. So, oh yeah, yeah. Go to their fucking coffee, cause they do a good job. But one, I couldn't help it. I love bats. Bats are so cute. I love bats. A big boy, little boy. But this is cool. This is a fun thing. Um, Bonebridge Primary, which is basically their version of elementary school. Why in the world would you bring up invasive species to? I'm not British, so I don't know. Is that a thing? I don't know. But either way. And then I I do want to comment on they seem quite accustomed to human presence. This is unusual for bats, which is very true. Bats don't like light being shined on them in any regard. Um, if you ever go to a cave, their bats are roosting, they'll warn you, hey, we have roosting bats. Do not shine lights at them. Do not disturb them. They are nesting in here. It is daytime. Please leave them alone. We'll try to give you a glimpse of them, but please don't shine lights at them. That is very strange. That it would be perfectly okay with a bright light being shined on it. They hunt insects like swarms, and it's just these. This might be the least well done part of this entire series. The slow one. Don't do the slow ones. Hey, if you ever do this again, and if you happen to be watching this, please don't do the slow ones again. Don't do the slow ones because they're goofy looking. But yeah, that is the most fun one, in my opinion. We can take a look at the shorts right quick. Yeah, that's just that. And then what about this? Because this also posted recently. That might just be a teaser for the next one. But either way, yeah, this is at least Paleo Void so far. I might check back up on them on a stream later. But for anybody who ends up watching the VOD, I hope you enjoyed this. This is something I'd found recently and was like, I would like to see if I can get more people into it. But also at the same time, like, I'm not big. But if I can at least get like 1, 2, or 3 people to see this and be as excited about it as I am, because this is pretty well done. It's still amateurish, but it's still I like it. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, this is Paleo Void. All things considered, pretty alright. So either way, take care of yourself. Oh, the biodome test was recent. I didn't realize that. I get why you're testing that, because you're trying to play around with that. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, take care of yourself. Have a chill time. Bye.